Hi, my name is Kat Hermes, and I'm playing George, Duke of Clarence, among other characters in our production of Richard III. And today I am going to talk about continuing a character's through line from one play to another. So one of the things that's really cool that we get to do with this series of histories that we started about 5 years ago with Richard II is have actors come back as characters who survived the previous play and play the same character again in a different play. And the interesting thing about doing this with Clarence in particular is Clarence's sort of character arc is split between the play Henry VI Part 3 and Richard III. So last summer we did Henry VI Part 3 and I played Clarence, and I got to do sort of the first half of Clarence's story where he is fighting alongside his brothers to overthrow Henry VI, who is currently the King of England. He ends up then betraying his brother Edward once Edward becomes king, going back to Henry VI's side, fighting against his brothers for a while, and then at the very last minute changing his mind, going back and helping his brother win and solidify his hold on the crown. And then we have a break. We don't see what happens to Clarence for a while, and Richard III begins with Clarence on the outs with his brother again. His brother has him imprisoned, but this time Clarence actually hasn't done anything wrong. He's put in prison because his youngest brother, Richard, who eventually becomes Richard III, needs to get him out of the way so Richard can be in line for the throne of England. And the Clarence that you see in Richard III is in some ways very different from the Clarence that you see in Henry VI, because in Henry VI you don't really get to see Clarence do a whole lot of introspection or questioning his own motives or interrogating his own actions, even though he does commit two fairly serious betrayals, the decision to rebel against the crown in the first place, and then the decision to change his mind and go back to what he was doing before. But in Richard III, Clarence has a very long and sort of introspective speech where he's dealing with his own actions, how he feels about his betrayals, how he feels about the crimes he's committed in the name of his brother, and then you get to see him fight for his life against these two murderers that Richard has sent to kill him in prison, and hear the arguments he makes in order to keep living despite the crimes that he's committed. So getting to finally finish the arc of the character that I started in the previous production has been one of the most exciting things about this production for me. So we hope you'll join us for Richard III.